Welcome. This is part 2 of the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Justice Collar. I'm Kelly McFarland, and this is the Surviving Life Today podcast. This episode is dedicated to making the RBG collar tabs. So we won't be making this part, that is in part 1. Now we are making all of these lovely tabs, and I tried to edit it down as much as possible while still fully explaining the tabs. So please enjoy. If you need a layout for all of your beads or anything like that, that is in part 1. And if you need to know how to attach the embroidery, that is in part 3. There's a link to the pattern in the description below. So if you'd like to purchase the pattern for a little bit of an easier time making it, or if you'd like to help support the artist, follow the link below to purchase the pattern. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy this part of the tutorial. Okay. I am at the end of the second row now, right? And I did the chain 1 to turn. So now we're on the right side. The first step here is going to be 7 single crochets to take us to our first tab. Okay. Okay, so now we are 7 single crochets in. Once we get here, we're gonna start to go off of the chart or off of the neckline. So from this last, there's 7. So from this last one, we're going to chain. The number that you chain is going to be the number of beads times 2 plus 1 for the tab, right? So we have 3 beads in this tab, so it's going to be 7, a chain of 7. And so here we go here to chain 7, 6, 7. Okay, and then make sure you keep these things kind of where you can see it right. And then you're going to skip your first one and do 6 single crochets back to the neckline. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then once you get back to the neckline, you want to slip stitch back into the same place your last single crochet was. So right here, I'm gonna slip stitch. Okay. And then once you do that, you turn all of your work over, right? So you're working on the wrong side now. And remember, that's how we get these beads into place. So you're gonna push your beads forward and half double, right? It goes bead, no bead, right? So that's your pattern. So catch your bead, there's a bead, no bead, and then the next one, another bead, right? No bead. And then your last bead for this tab. And then do a half double into the end. Okay. And then you're going to chain 1 and again turn your work the other way. All right. My kids are making noises in the background here. Okay, and so then we're just gonna do 6 single crochets back to the starting point. Okay. 1, 2. So each tab really takes up 2 stitches. Here's 3 on the neckline. 4, and I'll show you why. 5, 6. Okay. And so then we're going, so the last stitch had all the work so far. And then this stitch, we're going to, this next stitch, so you're going to move to the next stitch on the neckline, slip stitch into that. Oops, if I can grab it. Okay. And then do a single crochet into that stitch. And so the way that this should be situated is, oops, if I can grab this. There we go. Okay. So the way that this tab should be situated is right in between those two stitches on the neckline, as you can see. If I can stretch everything out so you can see it. Okay, and then after that, you're going to do 3 stitches. You've got a gap of 2 single crochets in the middle, and then your next single crochet will be what starts your next tab. So with this single crochet, I make the single crochet, and then I do my chain, and then again the chain depends on how many beads, right? So on this one we've got 4 beads, so I'll be doing a chain of 9. Okay, I'll just go ahead and time lapse here until we get a little bit down the way. At this point, you should be about halfway through, right? We are on, see, kind of shows you halfway, right? We're at the center tab. It's number 12. So there's 23 tabs. The center one will hang the lowest, or from this point, I guess the tallest. But hopefully you have this pattern down, right? We just finished a tab. So after this tab, we single crochet 3 times. And then the center tab has 8 beads. So after these 3 times, I'm going to do a chain of 17 for 8 beads. So that's 8 times 2 plus 1, right? That's 17. If you do end up purchasing the pattern has each tab listed individually. And with all these beads and everything, it just looks real classy. I love it. Okay, and so now we'll continue. Okay, great. So now we are at the end. We have done all of these beautiful tabs, and we are at the very last tab. I wanted to come back and finish out the necklace, talking through it. So we're going to make 3 more single crochets, and then the last chain for the last tab, right? So there's 2 and 3, and then we're going to chain 7 because there's 3 beads. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and right at the end it like gets so hard, and then all of a sudden it gets a little bit easier once you get past a certain point. I don't know. I stopped having to flip it over completely, so I think that's what makes it get a little bit easier. So we're going to do this is the third one. We're going to do 6 single crochets all the way back to the starting point. The one thing is that the end of the necklace can kind of be hard to follow along with, and you can get tangled up, I guess. So you have to keep making sure you're on the right side of the tab when you do this. And then you go ahead and slip stitch back to the first. And then, like I said, I don't even have to turn over the whole thing anymore. So I turn over my work here, and then we'll do the half doubles. Same bead pattern as the whole time. All the tabs. It's a bead, no bead, bead, no bead, right? So there's 1, 2. And I don't know about you, but I find it so enjoyable to lock these beads into place. I don't know what it is about it. But I just really like the whole pattern of doing it. My only complaint is the weight of it and flipping it over. So hopefully you find this enjoyable. Like I said before, these tabs are my own kind of invention. I messed around with this necklace probably for like 6 months trying to figure out how to make tabs. And then now it's a lot of math to figure out how it all lines up. But once you get the math correct, it really does nicely. I really like finishing out this project, or finishing out, I guess, this part of the necklace, because I am a little bit obsessive compulsive, I guess, and I really like that it all ends on a good note. Everything lines up. So we're going to do 6 single crochets back to the neckline, and then I believe 7 to finish. But we have to connect to the neck again too, so hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then slip stitch into the next stitch. Is it 7 or 6 to end it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6 till all the way to the end. Here we go. All right. So there's that one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 7, 6, 7. That 7th one is kind of hard for me to see. Or is it 6? Oh, I guess it's 6. Okay. So 6 takes us all the way to the end. If you know, they have that whole thing, like if you make a mistake in your crochet, it's releasing your soul from the crochet. So it's okay if you're a little bit off on count, but you really want it to line up as closely as possible, right? And so now we are done. We're done with the black yarn. We're done with this part. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten off my ends here. And before I move in onto the embroidery thread, I'm going to connect my fastener, just because I like the fastener, the connection to kind of sit below, like it was a part of the original piece. And so once I connect the thread, I'm just going to connect, not thread, the yarn. I'm going to connect it straight from the necklace onto the fastener. I find that that kind of is more durable, more reliable. And so I'll connect it and try to make it sit right in the center here. You see that? And it's not at the end at the top, and it's not at the end at the bottom. Instead, I'm going to feed these through so that it connects right here in the middle and in the middle, and then it'll be connected there. But you'll watch me do that in a sec. All right. So since we are finished, I'm going to go ahead and make the cut to the yarn. I don't know about you, I get a little bit apprehensive every time I finish it. And you see there's a wee bit left. And then just go ahead and pull the end through. So I got my fastener here. I'm gonna pull apart my ends, right? So I'm being a little lazy and just using a beading needle here. You can use a yarn needle, you can use whatever you need to use, right? If my fingernails will get this thing to split. There we go. Okay, so you take this, you feed it. So what I'm going to do first, I'll show you. I have my end here. I'm going to actually feed it back through, and I'm going to make a knot around this because I want my fastener to be connected through the middle of the necklace, not at the end. So I'm going back through. Can you even see that? Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going down now. It's so hard to see this beading needle. Here, let's stop being lazy and do it the right way. So we'll just go through here. Okay. Leave that little loopy loop. And then we come back through, and I'm going to pull it through the loop. I did it wrong. Look at me go. Okay, hold on. There, through that side. And I want to go through that loop because that's what's going to kind of lock it into place. So you see, we're basically tying a little slip knot right here into the end. There we go. Got it. Okay. So shouldn't hopefully pull on the end here. So the reason why I'm making a knot right into that piece is so that if it pulls on the necklace, I don't want it to pull on the end here. I want it to pull from the center. And so that's why I made that, and that looks like it's pretty good. Okay, so this is this. I'm gonna put this side with the clasp side down. So I need to do the other side with the clasp side up. I'm feeding it through, if it'll go through, and back. And I'm actually going to use that through here too. Haha. So it'll connect even more securely. See? Clever. Okay. So it looks like this one is pretty well attached. I think I might be able to make it through there one more time. But I can't go back through there. That's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, and this is shout out to Mikey from the Crochet Crowd, because this is where I learned this trick. Not the trick with the knot, but the trick with the 3 times back and forth. So I'm going to come through here. I'm going to make a knot to secure it. So here's my knot. I'm going to push through and go around, hold in place, and pull through. So this is how I can make my knot to finish it, where it like kind of sits nicely. You see right there? And that. Okay. And then we're going to kind of feed it between the stitches back and forth 3 times. And that is from the Crochet Crowd. It kind of helps your yarn to lock into place so that you don't lose it. It's really a cool trick, and I've had great success doing it that way. Right. So I'm going to feed in the ends here, and it looks like my beading needle is too weak for this part. Oop. So maybe I'm gonna have to do this using a better needle. And then I'm going to attach the other side, and then once I attach the other side, I will come back with the embroidery thread. I'll do that on a time lapse, so this is already a really long video. So I will be talking again soon. Thank you for joining me for this part of the tutorial of the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Justice Collar. The RBG Justice Collar is made for us all to find justice, right? And so I hope you enjoy making this. In this part of the tutorial, we made these tabs. In part 1, we made this bottom part and the beaded necklace here, and then in part 3 we'll be attaching the embroidery thread. So if you'd like to stay tuned, click on the link to part 3 so that you can view that. There's also the link to the pattern if you would like to go purchase the pattern for ease of reading, or if you just like to support me. If you have any questions or comments on what we've done here today, you just go ahead and leave them below. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, hype me up, and whatever you're doing this week, I hope you survive and thrive in all that you do.